Good morning. It is absolutely a gorgeous day on the homestead. This morning I am Christina and we just want to welcome you to Acres of Faith Homestead. This morning one of the projects that I'm doing is rhubarb. So I haven't gotten too much of it done yet this spring. Well, we're all actually on to summer now, aren't we? But here's my little rhubarb patch. I just have basically 3 nice sized plants. They produce plenty for our family and some to give away. I do fertilize them with plenty of rabbit poop, and that really makes a difference. You can see that I've pulled the stalks. You make sure when you're doing rhubarb you always pull the stalk from the root. And if you look there, I had one that broke off on me. I need to pull it out. When you pull the root or the stalk, as you can see, there's the bottoms that I've pulled out. It stimulates the plants to produce more stalks. So here you can see that it is producing more stalks. Whoops, I just broke one. Guess it'll go into the house. There you can see it's got some more coming on. There's little ones underneath there. So I'm going to show you how to do that since I just broke this one. You grab it down toward the bottom, and I tend to go back and forth with it, which loosens it up, and tug, sometimes lightly, sometimes it's a little harder. There we go. And so then this is what you end up with. That one needs to come out. So there we go. There's another one. All right. So these rhubarb plants have been pretty neglected so far because I just have been terrible busy. I will, as long as it doesn't get too hot, I use mine for quite a while. They tend to get what's called woody. People call it that. And it's like they get little air pockets in the stalks. And when that starts happening at that point in the year, usually when it's warmer, then they're done. I mean, they just don't produce a nice fruit for you anymore. So some people I'm standing back up here. Some people call rhubarb a pie plant, and they're wonderful right away as one of the first things that you can harvest from the garden. I'm just really late on it this year because we've had so much going on. We had a really big wedding this weekend that we did, and that was really fun. So anyway, that's what I'm working on right now. The kids, see if I can give you a shot of that. Way up there on the hill, you see that red pickup? The kids are shaking mulberry trees, and hopefully they will do a little bit of a video for you so that you can see that, and then I'll show you in a bit what we're going to do with those. But for right now, we are I'm working on the rhubarb, and so I'm going to take that in the house. And oh, I know, I forgot to show you. Okay, so once I pulled the stalks from the rhubarb, you can see that I have all the leaves. The leaves are actually poisonous to humans from what I understand. And so I always just cut them off and leave them below the plants. It works nice for mulch to keep the weeds down. So that's what I do with mine. And as I said, I had a lot this morning that were really big, thick stalks because I just hadn't gotten to it. So that means I have plenty of mulch this morning. So I'm going to go inside and we'll see what to do next. Okay, so here we are inside, and I actually have quite a bit of rhubarb to process now. So just show you real quick on those 2 that I pulled while we were outside. There's my knife. I will cut off about this much, and I just compost that. Now, if there's any spots that aren't great, then I go ahead and just compost that too. With this one, it's got just some surface abrasions, and that doesn't bother me. I'll just cut that out or peel it off, and it will be fine. So what I'm going to do next is rinse off all of this rhubarb, and then I'm going to start cutting it into small pieces. And when I get going on that, I'll show you what a pile of that looks like. When I cut rhubarb, I usually split it down the center with my paring knife. I've got everything washed. I'll go ahead and cut out these spots like this and compost those. And then I just start cutting slices about that big. Then they go into my big bowl, and then we'll process from there. So in the comments below, go ahead and let us know what you use rhubarb for. We have a family recipe that is our favorite, and quite honestly, it's pretty much all we do with rhubarb. Once in a while I'll do a coffee cake or maybe a rhubarb crisp, but for the most part, we make rhubarb pudding. Rhubarb pudding is actually rhubarb pie filling. It's a recipe from my great-grandmother, and we'll make some. It might not be today because we have plenty going on. Now this stalk, remember when I said it gets woody? This stalk is getting woody. It's really hard to cut through. It's really big. But for what I'm going to use it for, it won't matter. It's not tender though, like most rhubarb is. So here you can see I'm slicing it. I need to sharpen my knives. That'll be a whole nother video. Whoop, phone's ringing. Alright, well that was a nice phone call. Oh, I'm realizing that you are seeing the light. Okay. Hopefully I can adjust this so that you don't. I'm going to actually... There we go. Sort of. There. That will help. Okay, so hello. It's Christina. You probably won't often see my face because I'm using my phone to get the channel started. So I'm working on the rhubarb. I'm slicing it up. The phone rang as I was videotaping just a moment ago, and it was Dale, and he was in town running a couple errands for me. And our daughter, who is a barista at the local coffee shop, said that she was done and she needed a ride home. So he's going to stop and pick her up and then grab a couple things from the grocery store. I try to keep stocked up on things, and we'll have lots of videos that will talk about that sort of thing. But I did run out of Cascade for the dishwasher because I do use a dishwasher most of the time. And I ran out of laundry soap, so I need to make some more. I really do like to make it. I don't know, I think it does a good job for us and I like it. But today he's going to pick up just some cheapo laundry detergent to get me through. One, I don't have time to make detergent today, even though it doesn't take very long. And two, I need to go to a bigger town and pick up the supplies to do that. Otherwise, it's really not cost effective to make my own if I pick it up in our little town. I do want you to understand, though, that most everything that I buy in the way of groceries and that sort of thing, we raise a lot of our own groceries. But things that we can't, I really do try to pick them up locally. I encourage you to do that every chance you get. If you go to a bigger town for supplies, you've got the time wrapped up in that and your gas money. And I'm pretty sure you would really miss your local shops if they weren't there. So please shop local. There may come a time that you really can't go far away, and you're going to be thankful that your local stores are there. So support them now so that they are there later. Okay, so rant over. This is what I look like on a normal basis. No makeup. This is what I'm like at home. I'm going to go ahead and cut up this rhubarb and get it in my big bowl. I'll probably have more than one. And so as I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you about my grandma's rhubarb pudding. So rhubarb pudding is something that my mom made. Here you can see there's a couple little spots. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of peel that off with my knife. And that's going to go right into the compost. We compost everything that the chickens and pigs won't eat. There is just no such thing as waste here. I can talk about that as well. First of all, anything that the cats, or, well, yeah, cats, not really dogs. Our dogs get dog food, otherwise neither of them do very well. And we'll talk about that another time. Anyway, so it would go to the cats first, if it's appropriate for them. Otherwise, the chickens get scraps as well as the pigs. And of course, there are things that the goats and the bunnies get, the ducks or horses. So first it goes to the animals, and then if it's something that none of them like, it would go to the compost pile. Rhubarb's probably one of those. Of course, all of the manure from our livestock goes back into the soil here. We have a lot, though, and so here I am peeling off just a little bit again. We actually put manure on the neighbor's fields, which he loves, and that works great for us because otherwise the manure waste from several dozen chickens, like through the winter we had about 5 dozen laying hens and a couple roosters, and now I have sold some of those that were just hatched last year, the pullets, and that was a nice little income for us. So I'm down to about 2 dozen laying hens, which is a just nice amount for us. And if I happen to end up with some more, that would be fine too. We have chicks that have hatched out, and I can't remember if I videotaped that or not for you, but if not, I will show you some pictures of those. They're awful cute. Anyway, so with that and the horses and the goats and the pigs and just everything, we end up with a lot of animal manure. So more than we have capability of using on our gardens. I suppose we could, but it would take a tremendous pile of rotting manure because it would have to sit, you know, everything except for the rabbits would have to sit, and that's just an awful lot. We have, I'm pretty sure I've told you before, about 15 head of horses, and then we also have a few border horses that are here, and so with that, that's a tremendous amount of hay that gets tromped and needs to be cleaned up as compost, and we try and use that as mulch if I can, if it's not too manure. But then also, of course, all the manure. And so with all of that, those livestock species, that's a lot. So it goes, some of it goes to the neighbor, and one of their fields is right across the road from us. So it's very convenient for us, and they're very generous in return. Sometimes in the winter we put horses out on the corn stalks at their place, or beans, stubble, and that works equally well. It's nice to have some options like that. So that's where the manure goes. All right, back to Grandma Hammond's rhubarb pie, pie filling. So in the comments, I will share the recipe with you. Well, you know, I think I'll wait till I make it, and then I'll do that. It's delicious. Like I said, it's pie filling, so it's eggs and kind of a custard thing. But we make like a quadruple batch of it and eat it like pudding. That's how my mom did it when I was a kid, and I have 3 siblings, so 6 of us ate plenty of that. We all have a sweet tooth, and that was a delicious treat. Most of the time, or all of the time, when I am processing rhubarb, I actually freeze it. Now this year is going to be the first time that I don't do that. I plan to actually can this rhubarb, and lots of people online are talking about canning their rhubarb just with a little bit of water, whatever, and so I'll look at that just a little bit more this afternoon before I jar this up and process it. But I'm thinking that that will be a better option for me this year. Our freezers are pretty full. I really need to use up what's in there. And we do eat out of our freezers and we eat out of our pantry. But we've had a lot of livestock in the last 6 months that has been processed, and so we have freezers that are full of meat. I do like meat that's canned as well, but right now I just don't want to use up any more freezer space than I have to. There's always the thought too of what happens if the lights go out for some reason, even if it's for a short time. Man, if you have freezers, we do have a generator, and you know, there's all those options. but it's just a hassle. So also, you know, it makes the light bill go up. So I'm going to try to can a few more items than I normally do. I normally can about 1,000 jars every year. And I say year because it's not necessarily summer. I can all year round different items at different times of the year. I don't always make my jellies and jams in the summertime. For one thing, it's hot, and then the air conditioner, or in our case, central air, praise the Lord, just runs all the more. So a lot of times I will make juice from whatever berries or fruits that we have, and I will freeze that, or sometimes even can it, just so it's out of the way. And then later, like in the wintertime when we have cold days, I will spend some days making jellies and jams, then pull those fruits out of the freezer and utilize them then. And that seems to work really well. It is handling it a little bit more, but in the summertime, it's so busy with garden and, you know, we have business that helps pay the bills, and so all those things have to happen as well. So canning is huge for me, as I said, but I have gotten kind of down to a science for our family. I do it year round, and there are other things that I will do when it's cold out as well. For example, okay, I'm going to show you this up close. Can you see that? That is what I call woody. So it's just not smooth. It's going to be fine for making this pudding because it just boils and cooks down to nothing. But if you were making a crisp or something like that with it, it probably wouldn't be ideal for that. So in the wintertime, it's usually a little bit prior to Thanksgiving. At least locally where we are, there is a store called Hy-Vee. Some of you probably have that. It's a Midwest thing based out of Iowa. And Hy-Vee generally will do 5 pounds of potatoes for 99 cents. And so when that happens, I go in and I fill up like 2 carts, and I'm serious, it's like 50 or more bags, as many as I can do that week in my budget. And then I may even make a trip back later in the week. And so I get as much as I can possibly handle of those potatoes. And of course we use them, and of course we grow potatoes. But at that price, it works great to can those. So I can like crazy on those potatoes that are marked down so low. You know, I just kind of involve everybody. We peel. Sometimes we don't peel them, but most of the time we do, with the store-bought ones anyway. So I'll can those up in chunks or cubes, whatever, and then they work so great. I'll do another video when the time comes with that to show you. But we use those potatoes to make mashed potatoes at times. I do some that are in pints and most of them in quarts. But I do some that are in pints, and then that way our adult children who don't live at home, one who's in college and one lives on their own, and this fall we'll have 2 in college. A pint size works great for them to just heat up those potatoes, and then they can make fried potatoes or they can make mashed potatoes or whatever, and it's just convenience food for them. So that works great. Neither of our kiddos that'll be in college this year will be living in the dorms. Sometimes they've done that, but that's not going to be the case this year. It just works better not. So we try to do as much as we can for them for food. It's just a whole lot cheaper and easier for them as well. So anyway, that's what I use the potatoes for, and that would be an example of something that I can that's in the wintertime. Oh gosh, let me think what else. Oh, right around Thanksgiving, I'm still utilizing green tomatoes. When the time comes, I'll show you how that works. So I'll do some of those in slices. And again, I promise I will show you that process. And then that way we can have fried green tomatoes year round. But I am able to do that late in the fall because I can put them in my cellar and pull the tomatoes out of the crates even when it's cold, wintertime, and go ahead and can them up for other things. So that works really well. Anyway, okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish up this rhubarb, and then, time permitting, I will show you what to do with it. And if I don't get that done today, I will do another video on it. But we got a pretty tight schedule today. Lots going on. So, in case this is my sign off for the day, I just want to thank you for joining us here on Acres of Faith Homestead. We really appreciate that you're joining us in this journey. It's fun to document it. As I keep saying, we've meant to do this for a couple years just to show you. We've been homesteading a long time, and we just love it, and really feel convicted to share it with other people, whether it's for teaching or just encouragement, and hopefully it'll be both and many other things too. So we hope this is a blessing for you. If you don't mind, this is a baby channel, as you can tell. So please like the post that you're seeing today's episode. Subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and of course that little bell so that you know when you have new videos to watch. And if you wouldn't mind, share it. I mean, you can send it in Messenger or whatever to some friends that you feel like might be interested in the same things that we are. Let them learn right along with you. Have it be something that's fun, Do you have a girlfriend that has some rhubarb, or maybe your neighbors or whatever? Share this channel, Acres of Faith Homesteading, with them, and then process some rhubarb together. So I will talk to you later. Thank you so much. God bless you. Have a fabulous day. As I said, I may be back to show you the canning of that, or maybe making a dessert, but I can't promise it. So if this is it for today, have a wonderful day, and thanks for sharing part of it with me.